Hello and welcome to Ruckosaurus Rex, the channel where we discuss and review all things dinosaur and other prehistoric animals. How you guys doing? As promised, we have arrived, and what I mean by that is we're with PNSO number 68. We have introducing Mila, the Mapusaurus, number 3 in a series, 3 straight carcharodontosaurids, and all of them impressive. Well, the first 2. We're going to see what's up with Mapusaurus. I can tell you right now, I'm excited because I've always wanted a Mapusaurus. Is one of my favorite theropods, and definitely my favorite carcharodontosaur. So that checks off 2 of the boxes right there. We're going to see if Mapusaurus is definitely worth the wait. Looking at the packaging, you see the image of Mila, the Mapusaurus, right there. We're looking at the color scheme. Keep that in mind. We're going to see if, and I don't know if it's a she just because it's Mila, or if it's a he. The reason I say that is because if any of you kaiju heads are you remember the son of Godzilla, especially in the Millennium era. In fact, the 2000 Millennium, Godzilla 2000 Millennium, son of Godzilla in that film was named Mila, and it was spelled just like this. So that's just a little of needless info. Anyway, well, let's hope that the actual model, the paint scheme, looks like what we're seeing here on the packaging. Speaking of that, turn to the top, and you see we have Mila again. This one, it's got the mouth closed. That's open. Turn it around. It's the same thing. So that's all she wrote. As far as that's concerned, let's crack this open and see what's good with Mila the Mapusaurus. As always with PNSO, we get that accompanying booklet, informational. It's got 68 Mila the Mapusaurus there, and as always, it's got the information and illustrations and all kinds of stuff there going on in. We've been here before. We know what's up. So pretty cool. Let me get to at least one illustration. There we go. Looking very nice. So we know what that is. Here we have a poster, and this one is different because we have an illustration of Mapusaurus full-bodied, and then a nice portrait shot of the Mapusaurus. This is pretty nice. And of course, we get the accompanying stand with all of the theropods, all of the bipedal dinosaurs that come, that are from PNSO. And I dare say it's probably going to be needed for this one because just going off of the packaging, the head sits kind of low, so that's going to definitely lend towards it leaning over time. Here we have Mila, the Mapusaurus, on our rotating base, getting a very nice look at the whole model there, and I'm looking at the box now and trying to see if the paint scheme matches what we have on the box, and yeah, it's pretty close. I think the real deal is a little bit lighter than what we get on the box. It looks the illustration on the packaging looks a little bit darker, but it's still consistent, the design and everything else. And to keep it real, I like what I'm seeing here as far as the paint scheme anyway. So that makes it nil. Let's get Mila off the base and check out some more of these details, starting with that skull. Before we check out Mila up close, let's get a measurement real quick. From snout to tail, we are talking about 14 inches, and there is a slight curvature in the tail, so it's a little bit longer than that. Mapusaurus was estimated to be 12 meters or 40 feet long. So this is right in scale with it. About 42 feet long, I should say. I said 40 feet. I'm shortchanging the Mapusaurus there. It was either the largest carcharodontosaurid or one of coming neck and neck with Giganotosaurus. And one thing I can tell you, it's really funny about how nature works, because anything, nature basically determined anything larger than this wouldn't be an effective hunter. These guys were in existence well before Tyrannosaurus Rex, and we all know Tyrannosaurus Rex being the largest tyrannosaur, and for the longest time was thought to be the be-all, end-all, largest carnivorous animal to exist. Was topping off for a long time at 40 feet until, quite recently started discovering skeletons that were a bit longer. Sue, for example, was about 42, just under 42 feet long. And then we've got Scotty, who I believe is very close to 43, like 42 feet 8 inches long, something like that. So, but think about it, they were all pushing that, and not much bigger than that. They probably wouldn't have been effective predators. That size was the pinnacle for the size that they could grow. And it's crazy because that makes the Mapusaurus and a lot of the carcharodontosaurids and Tyrannosaurus gigantic, but they were still too small to take down probably the most prosperous prey that was around at the time, and in the same area as Mapusaurus. And I'm talking about the Argentinosaurus. Anybody knows about that? It's a titanosaur, sauropod, and the largest, if not one of the largest land animals to ever exist, coming in at about 115 to 120 feet, something like that. If it isn't the largest, it's neck and neck with Pterygotitan, which was reported to be somewhere in that vicinity too. I think I get them mixed up. It's either Argentinosaurus or Pterygotitan that's at 122 feet, something like that. That's just huge. So I mean, at 120 feet, that's 3 times the size in length alone of a Mapusaurus. So I'm saying all that to say this: despite their size, and considering how they found skeletons of Mapusaurus, they're thought to have hunted in what they call gangs. Because, and I believe that myself, because how else are you going to take down a friggin' 115 foot long Argentinosaurus? You're going to need some help, straight up. But anyway, enough about that. Let's take a closer look at Mila. All right, we're taking a look at Mila, the Mapusaurus, and you see when I mentioned how low bearing the head was, you can see that now the chin is basically grazing the bottom of my viewfinder. So that means what I see, you guys are seeing too. But it's not really interfering with being able to see Mila in all his/her glory. Still haven't determined if it's a male or female. But looking at the skull, very nice. You can tell right away that it's a carcharodontosaurid. It has that iconic look, though different from Giganotosaurus, different from Meraxus, different from Acrocanthosaurus, but they still had similar characteristics. Look at the chin. You see, even though it's not as pronounced as a Giganotosaurus, it still has that, I don't know if we want to call that an underbite or whatever, protruding chin. It's not protruding as far as a Giga would protrude, but you could still see the similarities. You could tell that they're related species-wide. Anyway, looking at the head sculpt with the eyes, they're yellow with black, or more gold than just straight up yellow, with black pupils. Looking at that, the snout, it's got a dark wash over it, so it brings out the scales that are there. You can see the nostrils, see the teeth. PNSO doesn't believe in lips, so that's why the teeth are exposed. We do have an articulated jaw, so you got that. Looking in the mouth, he's got the nice wet look, and in typical PNSO fashion, I don't know if you could see that in there. See if I could. Yeah, right there you could see it. The nasal passageways have been sculpted in, and you've got all of that wet looking niceness there in the mouth. Looks very realistic, so that's pretty cool. And you see the color. It's simplistic but very nice the way how it is. It's like a light tannish or grayish tan type of base, and then there's a more brown type of wash going over it, and then of course going right down the spine, the top there, it's a darker like gray, brownish gray kind of sorta. Pretty nice. You have the striping right there. The forelimbs, you see it's got the nice the claws there, and it starts off with that grayish color, and then of course it melts and blends into that whatever this color would be, kind of like a chalky grayish color. The underside, light as they usually are. Look at the neck. I'm going to go back up to the neck. PNSO sculpted in the wrinkles in the neck. That's pretty cool right there. I like that. The hind limbs, you've got pretty simple. That kind of a light brownish hue right there, and it goes down, and then it melts into that grayish kind of cream color. And then of course you've got the grayish spots there going down to the feet. You get they get darker. You see the scoots right there, and then of course the claws painted nice. And looking at the feet, it looks like the Mapusaurus was a very light stepper, if you go by that. And I kind of sort of believe that too. I'll get to that in a second after I finish going over this. The tail, you see how that goes, striped all the way down to the tippy tip as it tapers that way. And of course it's going to be the same thing on the other side. So we got that going on right there. It looks pretty good. Going to back Mila up. I think I'm going to just, Mila's going to be a girl. It's going to be a female Mapusaurus. That's how we're going to do it. Anyhow, I put her back this far so you can see how she's stepping. And it looks like she's very light on her feet. And quite frankly, I think for the most part, they all were. And yes, I'm even including the Tyrannosaurus Rex as big and bulky as they've made it out to be. And Tarbosaurus as well. Tarbosaurus was a little bit shorter, but probably as massive in terms of girth as the Tyrannosaurus Rex. But I don't believe for a second the stomping around that they do in the Jurassic movies, because they're predators. Just moving, they're announcing, their presence well before they're in the vicinity of catching anything. So I think despite their gigantic size, we look at things in terms of size because where the average human male is 5'9" and 3/4. So that's not very much in comparison to the dinosaurs and some prehistoric mammals as well. So our sense of scope has been, it's not the same. These things, the norm was giant animals roaming around. So I think that obviously they could carry their weight, and they weren't carrying their weight all clumsily or anything like that. They were carrying their weight pretty well. So I think the predators, while they may not have been as agile as dromaeosaurs or anything like that, let's not get carried away, I still think that they were light on their feet for being 40-foot long, 30-foot long, you know what I'm saying, predators. They just had to be. It doesn't make sense that they're stomping around and making glasses with waters shake if they were alive today. I just don't believe it. But what do you guys think? Give me your opinions down in the comment section below. And speaking of how gigantic a Mapusaurus would be, here's a human figurine. It's either 135 scale or 140, somewhere in there. It's still close enough to give you an idea of how large the Mapusaurus is compared to a human being. And I'll say the same thing that I said that I've said several times when I've seen Tyrannosaurus skeleton at the American Museum of Natural History in New York. Whenever I'm there looking at it, I'm like, what, what in the world was God thinking when he made that? And the same thing goes for the Mapusaurus as well. Now it's time to do some comparisons, and of course we're going to be comparing Mila, the Mapusaurus, with the other carcharodontosauridae that have been provided by PNSO. And of course we've got to start off with the holotype, I was about to say person, the species that this whole group has been named for. We've got carcharodontosaurus itself, and as you can see, it is definitely, meaning the carcharodontosaurus, outclassed size-wise by the Mapusaurus, which is curious because for the longest time, whenever you would speak on the largest theropods, especially those when they were just straight up saying that they were larger than the Tyrannosaurus rex, Carcharodontosaurus and Giganotosaurus were always, they were saying that that they were larger. They've been re-estimated, both of them, but the Carcharodontosaurus is they've been trying to say that it's it used to be scaled up to 46 feet, basically even bigger than a Giganotosaurus, but now they've scaled it down to about 42 feet. And if that's the case, this is still woefully undersized. Looks nice though. Normally my go-to Carcharodontosaurus is from GR Toys. That beast is about the same size as this Mapu, maybe a little bit larger, as it should be, I think. Next up, we've got the Acrocanthosaurus. Very nice model here. And Acrocanthosaurus was early Cretaceous period. Mapusaurus, if I didn't say it already, I think I did say it was earlier than Tyrannosaurus rex. Mapusaurus was around 93 to about 88 million years ago, so well before T-Rex reared its face, and they weren't even in the same area anyway. Mapusaurus hailed from Argentina, what is now known as Argentina. Next up, we have Meraxus gigas, whom we've previously reviewed as in terms of PNSO models are concerned, and very nice. Still's got one of the best color schemes PNSO has ever put out. And here we have, bringing up the rear as far as our comparisons with Carcharodontosauridae, we've got the previously reviewed and the start of the trifecta. We've got Lucas 2.0, the Giganotosaurus. This Giganotosaurus redone, the skull more in line with what has been imagined for Giganotosaurus today. And this particular model comes in just slightly shorter than the Mapusaurus, whereas the original Lucas was much larger. It was a museum line model, so it had some size. I think that Giganotosaurus was 15 inches long at least. That's what I believe anyway. And we had to we couldn't get out of here without comparing our Mapusaurus with the Big Daddy himself, Tyrannosaurus rex, Wilson 2.0. And this model is just slightly smaller than the Mapusaurus, but they look great together for sure. Here we have a group shot of the five Carcharodontosauridae that PNSO has provided us. Technically 6 if you want to include Lucas 1.0, but he's been replaced, so we're going to go with this right here, especially since this one is a bit more accurate. This Giganotosaurus I'm talking about, which is off to our left. So from our left to our right, going around in a circle, we have the Meraxus gigas. We've got the Giganotosaurus. At the top there, we've got the the player of the day. We've got the Mapusaurus coming around to the other side. We've got the carcharodontosaurus, and of course, our far right, the holotype, the species for which this genre is named for. We're talking about carcharodontosaurus itself. Very nice looking group. I don't think we're going to be seeing any more carcharodontosaurs for a minute. If we do, I know everybody wants Tyrannotitan. I want Tyrannotitan, but going over the all of the species that PNSO is involved in, they usually name their species. They all have names like, we've got Lucas, we've got Mila, and so on and so forth. We've got Mungo, the Maraxis, you know what I'm saying? So it's just crazy. But they all have names. And they don't have a Tyrannotitan in their lineup anywhere, whether it's informational or models. And I know that technically doesn't really mean anything, but I tend to believe that they make models based on the characters, if you will, that they've already created. And if that's such, then they do have a concavenator. So that's a carcharodontosaur as well, a smaller one. It's a mid-sized theropod, grew to about 20 feet long, something like that. So if we're going to get any more, it would be that. But I don't think we're going to get any more, at least for a while. I mean, we got 3 back to back to back, and that alone is crazy. I mean, we've gotten 3 back to back to backs with marine reptiles before, but they weren't the same, the same subclass. They were different. And we've gotten, I think we've gotten a couple, or in pairs of 3s. Maybe I'd have to look, ceratopsians, possibly. But be that as it may, it's one thing to get 3 ceratopsians. They have their, I don't think we got 3 back-to-back chasmosaurs or centrosaurs like that. Even with the theropods, it's not like we got back-to-back tyrannosaurs. This is the first time I believe we got back-to-back sub-categoried animals. Still cool though. And as far as Mila the Mapusaurus, it's everything that I wished for in a Mapusaurus. Very nice figure. I think it looks, the paint scheme is beautiful. The pose is banging. Just from how light on its feet it appears to be treading. Yeah, it's very nice, and they all look beautiful together. I'm happy. Hopefully you guys will be happy and with this review. And if you want a Mapusaurus, hopefully you'll get one and you'll be happy with that. Anyhow, that'll do it, guys. Please like, share, and subscribe. Please leave your comments below on anything we discussed. Got questions, hit me up with those. And once again, I said subscribe, so please do that. And you can also, if you want to be notified for the next time I upload a video, there's a notification bell down there. Hit that as well. So on behalf of Mila the Mapusaurus and all of her carcharodontosaur family, excuse me, we're signing off. Thank you, guys. Take care.